What's up, YouTube fans? Today we'll take a look at the Takara Tomy Transformers masterpiece, Skyfire. Now, I have been waiting for this guy for a long time. If you didn't know, Skyfire is my favorite character, and I got this one from the Chosen Prime. They were good enough to send me an early advanced copy. I did pay a little bit extra to get this early. Now, if you did order from the Chosen Prime, they'll be having theirs in a couple weeks, so just stay tuned for that. Now, I had the privilege of meeting Gregg Berger, who is the voice of Skyfire in the cartoon, at TFCon, and he luckily was nice enough to do a little voice for me. So let's take a look at that clip.
It's me, Skyfire, from Transformers Generation 1. Conflicted because of the fire in the sky and the trouble deciding between Decepticon creation and Autobot discovery. I'm standing with TM Reviews. Here I am, till all are one.
And a big thanks to Gregg Berger for doing that for me. He's a pleasure to meet and talk to. Now, let's get into this figure. There's a few things you have to do right out of the box. So first off, you do need to fold these wings. They'll be folded up like this, and you just want to fold them straight and then tab in like that. But the bigger thing to check is these legs. So in shipping, it might have gotten messed up. So if you pull this down, another thing to check is this panel here has two little tabs on the inside, and those two little tabs tab into here. And if you don't have it lined up, they won't tab in. So if you have this pushed all the way in, I'll just show you. If you collapse it down like that, which it could have done, it won't tab in properly. So make sure you have it out one click, not more than one click, and then tab that in, and then you should be able to tab this into the side of the backpack. And now things should be secure, and we're ready to rock and roll with Skyfire. And let me put the cartoon image there so you can take a look for yourself. Really nice recreation of that jet mode. It does have a ton of features here. So starting off with the landing gear, you can open this up and fold those out. It is painted and detailed, and it has rolling wheels. My only issue with these landing gear is they tend to fold downwards as you roll him forward, which is kind of unfortunate. If you roll it slowly, it seems to work. You fold these panels down and set them down on those wheels. It sits nicely, rolls backwards nicely, rolls forwards if you go slow. If you go too fast, it will collapse. Or if you put any pressure on it, it will collapse. So, not a huge fan of that, but it does look really, really good. Now, you do get a ton of play features here with this jet mode, and lots of little compartments. So you do get an opening cockpit here, painted and detailed. It's sculpted detail all throughout, and we do get some minifigures, which I'll show you in just a minute. You also get a opening panel here, again painted and detailed, and it fits another minifigure. Coming to the back here, you can open this one, and another painted and detailed compartment there, and same thing on this side, more paint. And then you get one right here on the front. Now this one, you want the wheels all the way down, but that will sit flat on the ground. And you can have Autobots loading up into Skyfire, which is really cool. I think that's such a cool thing to do. Speaking of Autobots, we get some with this guy. We get some little minifigures. So we get Jazz here, and he's got some dark blue paint, light blue paint, red, silver. Here's the back. A little bit more paint. He's articulated. The head doesn't move, but the arms rotate all the way around on a ball joint, out to the side on a ball joint. You have a 90-degree bend at the elbow. His hands are kind of in a weird position, but that's how they have him. The legs rotate up to there on a ball joint, back to there, out to the side, rotation at that thigh around the ball, 90-degree bend at the knee. And if you fold his legs up like this and get them just kind of straight, and then get his arms folded at the elbows, he can sit in the cockpit just like that. So go ahead and take him. And there's actually a cutout in the cockpit just for the size of his legs, because he's got wheels on the side of his feet. So I just thought that was cool that they thought about that. But he'll fit in there perfectly. can close up the cockpit, and he can fly around. Now we get more characters here, so we get Wheeljack, and he's done in white, green, red, light blue, dark blue, and then purple up here for the wings and the shoulder cannon, and then a little bit of gray there. He's got the same articulation as Jazz, but if we fold up his legs and fold up his arms, we can get him into another compartment. We'll put him right here into the side one. You can put him in either one, it doesn't matter, but put him there, close that up, and he stores in there nicely. And then last but not least, we get Optimus Prime. And this one looks really good. This is one of the best minifigures I think we've gotten. I mean, this whole set, but he does have paint on him. Painted silver, blue, and light blue for the eyes. For the head crest, a little yellow there. The feet are painted with the silver and then the blue for the legs and white for the gas cans. Here's the back. They all have this little peg hole here. I'm not really sure what it's for. Maybe for display purposes or like to have it, jumping or whatever. But again, same articulation on this guy. His leg goes a little bit higher than the others, but fold up his legs and his arms into this position. You can get him into here, and he can fly along as well inside a Skyfire. And there's actually a little window right here on the side, which is so cool. And there you go. They're all flying along with Skyfire. Really, really cool little feature there. We also get storage for the weapons and for the accessories that we have in robot mode. So coming to the bottom here, we can take this gun, and there's a little notch right here on both sides, and that will slide into this groove. And you got to line it up, but it'll fit right in there. With the landing gear down, it will sit underneath there, no problem. If you fold up the landing gear, that will hit the floor. So got to have the landing gear out. You also get blast effects here for these rear boosters. They're just done in a clear, translucent orange plastic, and that also looks really cool. You also get little flaps here on the wings. You can fold down. They're just for that purpose. They don't do anything for transformation, so included that just for that. You can also fold the wings forward if you want. It has a ratchet there, so it just clicks into place. So you get a little bit of playability on the wings as well. You also get a alternate display mode here for him and storage. So if you come to the top here, you pull apart on this part here. And there are tabs, so you got to pull this apart enough to get those tabs free. Don't try pulling it up without getting those tabs free. But once you get those tabs free, you can get this up and popped up like that. And it's also tabbed in here. And if you lift this up, you'll see there's a compartment inside there. And my landing gear keeps falling down, so I'm trying to get them back in. But there's that compartment. And we can store a whole bunch of stuff in here. I'm not going to take the time right now to look at these guys. I'm just going to show you how to store them. So we can take the faces, which we'll see more in robot mode. Those can peg in right here and here. And they do fit very firmly and securely in there. You can also take the plates here, the Decepticon logo, and the blank. And before I put these away, I'll just show you. It does have the Autobot logo there. If you pull down on this, and pull up on this, slide it out, you can slide in the Decepticon logo here. And that looks like that. Or you can have, if you don't want him to have any faction, maybe he just was unfrozen from the mountain, you can have no faction. Me personally, I'm going to probably display it with the Autobot logo, but it's nice that they give you those options. But when you're not using those, you can store them inside of here. So you're going to take this. There's two little grooves right here on the inside of this blue piece, and that'll just fit like that. Same for this one. you can fit this in here. And I forgot to mention, you can also store the battle mask right here in the middle. I'll just tab in there, and then you can close this back down. Another thing you can do is have the G1 Jetfire mode. Since we have this open, might as well look at it here. So you're going to take this. This is going to slide back like that. This is going to come down and store in here. Get this tabbed in right here on the top. And now you have the split backpack look, like the G1 Jetfire style. I really appreciate them, thinking about doing this if you want that Macross look, and it doesn't necessarily look completely like the Macross, but it's close enough that I just appreciate that they even included it. You can also take his gun that we stored down here, slide that out, and there's a storage compartment. So if you push this, that'll fold open this panel here, and there's a little tab right here that will fit into the side. And now you got this look here, which looks a lot more like, G1 toy style. Very cool that they have this. And we also get a flight stand here done in this orange plastic. It is exactly the same as the one we got from the MP-52 Seekers. Literally the same, just a different color done in orange. And we now get this adapter, which allows you to attach him to the stand. So in theory, you could attach him to the purple stand as well. But come to the bottom here, you're going to take this. Make sure you have this tab facing the back. That's going to plug in right here on the bottom of Jetfire, or Skyfire. And then this is going to sit on top of here and peg into there. And they just mentioned make sure this little tab works its way back there. And I guess they want it straight. Now you can have it angled down, but it's pretty heavy. You'd have to tighten these screws, maybe use a little kiki. But in the book, they mentioned they want it to be straight. I guess so that it doesn't fall down and break. But it really does add to the display factor having him on this flight stand. And then to enhance it even further, you can add the blast effects on the engines, and he can be flying around like that. That's really cool. Really nice option there for display. And for comparison, since we just showed the minifigures, there it is next to MP-10 Optimus Prime, a Make Toys version of Jazz, and then the Takara Tomy exhaust, which is the same mold as their wheeljack. And looks nice with this Masterpiece scale. I do think in the cartoon, Jetfire or Skyfire tended to be gigantic, because they were obviously driving into him. So you're never going to get a scale version of Skyfire in his jet mode. But for me, this is big enough. It looks really nice. And for comparison, which I think people want to see, there it is next to the Fans Toys Phoenix. And I'm not going to say too much here because I am going to do a full versus on these guys. But the Fans Toys is bigger in length, width, and height. But they are very similar overall in their design in the jet mode. But there you go for comparison. Alright, now let's get Skyfire transformed into his robot mode. It is actually a relatively involved transformation, but it is also fun. So come to the bottom, we're going to fold away the landing gear here. And come back to the top here. We're going to work on the legs first. So unpeg it from here. Open up that panel, slide the leg down, push this back, that's going to tab into the back. So click it in, you'll hear it snap in. We're going to rotate the leg all the way down, rotate this down, and rotate the foot down, and then fold out the heel spur. And we're actually going to display this, so we want to have that leg like that. Come to the other side, same thing. Unpeg it from here, open this panel, slide this down, tab it to the back, fold the foot down, fold your heel spur down, rotate the leg, and if you get it one click forward on both, and then you fold the foot back down, you can get it into the Garrock mode. And this is, not really a necessary mode, but He did actually do this in the cartoon. I'll put the image there. He came kind of landing and he put his feet down like this. So you can recreate that scene if you want to. But yeah, there you go. You know, he also has the Gerwalk mode with the arms sticking out. They don't show it in the book. I don't know if that's on purpose because of Cross or, you know, whoever holds the license for Robotech, but you can do it. So come to the wings here. You're going to untab it from the back. It's tabbed in right here. And there's a little tiny tab that you want to get unpegged. Like that. And then come to the front, unpeg it from here. So there and there. Come to the inside here. We're going to rotate the hip one click forward. And that's going to unlock this arm piece. So this whole armature is going to fold out and down like that. Put that hip back the other way. And then this is going to tab in right here. You can see there's a tab on the arm. And then underneath there's another tab to tab that in. Rotate the arm down. And basically we can actually do the same thing on the other side. So open this up, fold the hand down, and then you're going to rotate the hand and then fold it out, tab this back in, and same on this side. Open this up, fold the hand out, rotate, and then close this up. And there is the Gerwalk mode with his arms out. And for whatever reason, they don't show this in the instructions. And they kind of allude to it, like they get you to the steps, but they don't actually show it. So again, he did this at one point in the cartoon as well. And I think he picked up some people with these arms. Anyway, now that we have that out, we can continue the rest of this transformation. So actually we can straighten these legs back up. And we're going to come to the top here. So I'm going to unpeg this from here. Come to the front, fold the legs straight down so that he can stand up. And now we'll get these arms folded down and out of the way. Since we already transformed them, they can just sit down like that. And we're going to take care of this chest piece here. So go ahead and open up this panel right here. You have to actually untab this from here. It's tabbed in right there at the top. It's a little weird the way it untabs, but basically it's an over-under. So there's a tab that goes underneath and a tab that goes on top that pegs in right there. Once you get that out, you can fold this down. And actually we can fold these arms out of the way so we can see what we're doing. And this is going to come down. There's a panel back here, so you got to get that to be straight. So make sure that panel's straight. This is going to come all the way down like that. This whole panel is going to slide in, and that's why you need that panel to be down. And basically it should go all the way until it won't go anymore. And there's actually a stopper there, so you know how far to go. And he looks pretty funny. That's how it's going to go so far. Take this little tab up here, fold that into the nose cone. Bring the nose cone down and make sure the head is down. When you're going back to robot mode, make sure the head is all the way down. Open up this panel up here on the top. That'll give you some clearance to bring this past and down. Are we having trouble? This is going to come down to here. You can slide the hips apart just for now, just to see what you're doing. This is going to come into here and it's going to peg in. There's a peg right there. It's going into the bottom of his nose cone. So get that down and peg that in. It's a pretty secure peg. There you go. Now that you have that, we can bring these back up. There's two clips here. They're going to tab into the sides here, but you can see they're not aligned. So you actually have to slide these back. So come up to here, slide them. In the book, they show fold this, but you don't really need to do that. You can just put a finger here and slide forward. And then come to the inside. These are going to fold up and tab into that tab on the inside. So it's kind of a blind tab. You kind of have to do it without looking. But here you go. All right, so same on this side. I did push the hips accidentally, push them back in, but you don't want the hips collapsed. So same on this side, slide that back, fold this up, and then tab it in on that inside tab. And the easiest way to see it is from the top. So you can line it up and get it tabbed in. There we go. And that side. So you should be collapsing like that. It does stick out just a little bit. So don't expect this to collapse all the way down. It just kind of fits on top here. Now, I don't see a way to clip the top part. The back clips in, but the bottom, this part doesn't really clip in. All right, so that's kind of the front. Let's work on the back now. Come to here. Open this up like we did in the vehicle jet mode. That's just going to flop down. This is going to collapse in and sit like that. Up here, we're going to take this panel that's going to fold all the way down. It's got to make its way past those little tabs, so make sure it reaches. This whole backpack is going to slide up. So you can push from here, and you really want it to slide all the way up. I'm going to slide the wing all the way up as well. And you can see that leaves a gap. So that gap that you just made, and I got those on the inside, so they need to be on the outside. Make sure they're on the outside. And you can see this is what you're sliding. The sliders are right here. All right, so it should go all the way up. And then you got to make sure you have the backpack all the way up too. So this backpack slides independently of what I just showed you. So this should be all the way up until it won't slide anymore. And this can actually hinder it. So you want to pull this forward, this white panel in here, forward just a little bit. And that'll allow you to get that last little bit. And this tiny little red piece should be sticking out on his bum. If you don't do that, it won't be lined up correctly. All right, now we have the backpack all the way up. We're going to collapse the backpack. And the last little collapsing bit kind of doesn't feel great. It makes that clicking sound. So you do have to get it all the way collapsed. And then the top should actually clip together. And make sure you have it all the way closed on the top and bottom. You're going to take this panel here. This is going to accordion down and into here and make sure these clips attach to those tabs on the back. And that's going to kind of hold it all together. Fold these down flat to make up his backpack. For the wings, we're going to take these, fold those up. Let's see. We'll get this arm out of the way. And then bring this down and into the backpack like that. Same on this side. Get the arm out of the way. Fold this up. Bring this down and get that stored in the backpack. Really kind of ingenious. And for the last step here, go ahead and collapse these boosters into his backpack. And there is Skyfire in his robot mode. And they nailed the look of this guy in the cartoon. Let's put the image there so you can take a look. They really got it down. Now, if that's not your thing, this isn't going to help you, but man, it looks really good. It's also very clean. There isn't any kibble or pieces sticking out anywhere. It's really, really well done. One thing that I think people don't realize or didn't know about this figure before they got it in hand, like me, was it's really got a lot of paint. So the head is 100% painted, the white, the blue, the silver, and the blue for the eyes. This chest piece is painted, the white here all the way down, silver here. The red, all the red pieces you see are painted. Autobot symbol, the stripe. The white here on the nose cone, the white for the legs, and then the silver here for the feet. All of that is painted, and it is done nicely, and it looks good. They didn't paint the arms, but that's because it's going inside the chest. Could scrape up against other parts, so it makes sense they didn't paint it. Let's go over his articulation. He's got a lot of articulation. The head is on a new joint. I've never really seen one like this. It's kind of an extension. It's a rotating extension ball. So there's a ball joint, but it's on an extending hinge here. So you get it all the way up. It can go way down, way up, which is perfect for flight poses, as he's flying through the air. You get side to side, you get rotation all the way around, you get any position you'd want. And you can put the head all the way back down. I think it actually looks good. A little bit up with a little bit of neck. And I think some of the poses we got prior, it was all the way down like that, and he looked kind of weird. So you do want to pull it up to get, more natural look for him. The face sculpt we'll take a look at a little bit later. Coming down to the Arms, you have a butterfly joint here that gets you out to there. The whole shoulder can lift up on that ratchet, and then the arm can lift up on that ratchet. You can get all the way up on those two. You can rotate around on this ratchet joint. Nice tight ratchet that way as well. You have a double jointed elbow, and the little piece disappears automatically. Gorgeous. It just works so beautifully. Rotation at the wrist, in and out movement at the wrist. Individually articulated fingers on 2 pins each, and then the thumb is on 2 pins. And he can have some pretty good poses. I do wish the thumb would rotate, but overall pretty good hands from Takara on this guy. You don't have anything really at the waist. It's kind of unfortunate actually. You know, it doesn't rotate. You don't get an ab crunch or anything. Coming down to the legs, the hip itself can move out of the way, and actually this could be considered a fake ab crunch because you can do that and it now looks like he's crunching, even though it's really the hips that moved. So I guess you could consider that somewhat of an ab crunch because the hips moved and not the legs. But with those hips moved like that, you can get the legs all the way up to there on a ratchet, back to here, hindered by the backpack. Out to the side, there is a hip skirt there. It'll move up to there. Now, I don't really like this, the first click. That's one click out, and look how wide his legs are. And when we get down to the ankles, you'll see that's also a wide click. So, not a big fan of having the ratchet teeth that far apart, but it does have nice, you know, clicky ratchets. Rotation at the thigh around a universal. You have a double jointed knee. You see the full bend. The knee pad actually moves on its own. It's really cool engineering. You can actually move it yourself, but I just love how that works. It's a cool knee. Coming down to the feet, it can tilt forward, backward, to the side. Now, I wish this was just friction to the side. I think all side motion should be frictions, but there you go for articulation. For his accessories, you get the gun, which we showed you in the vehicle mode. Painted nicely and sculpted. This will fit in his hand. Just open up the fingers. Traditional tab style masterpiece. And there's actually, the tab is pretty deep in the finger, so just make sure you get it all the way back. And you can hold that gun. Pretty nice. You can use the blast effect here in the gun. So if you want to do that, he can be blasting some Decepticons, or if you change him to a Decepticon, you can blast some Autobots, whatever you want. You can also take these blast effects, come to his backpack here, and these can fit into here. So he can be kind of in a flight position. You can use the flight stand here in the robot mode. It's not in the instructions. I'm not sure why they didn't put in the instructions, but I'll show you how to do it. All right, so if you get the flight stand positioned like this with the tab sticking up, if you come to the bottom here, and we'll just take these out for now, but there's 2 little slots right there. That's actually the same slots that we put it in for the vehicle mode right there. All right, there he is on the flight stand. Now, I would say do this on your own risk because it's not in the instructions and it probably could fall if you're not careful, but he can do this. That's a really cool option for this guy. All right, we can also do the Robotech or Macross style look for this guy. And we are going to open up his backpack here. So pull this down. And we're actually going to take out all of these accessories while we're here because we want to show these. And we did already show you the symbol here, but you can just pull up on this and install the Decepticon symbol if you want to. I'm going to leave them in there, but I just wanted to mention that. All right, go ahead and actually, before you close that, come to the back here, and we're going to separate the backpack and pull them out like that. And then you can take this and fold that back in and make sure tab's in. You're going to slide this down a little bit because otherwise you have these gaps showing right there. So just slide it down just a bit. And then we're going to take this battle mask. It is painted white here. The blue is just a translucent blue. And that will fit. It's magnetic, so there's a little magnet there. And there's a, I guess this is the metal, the magnet's inside, but it'll fit right over his face. And you can do that. And that's really cool. I love that they gave you the option to change him into this look if you want to. And I would probably display him like this anyway, but I really think that's good. Take this gun and take it out of the hand and use that same mechanism over here. Rotate this around and then fold up the gun handle. Use the tab there. Get this pegged in, and now he's got that display option. Very, very cool. I really think this is kind of some genius stuff here from Takara to allow you to display like this. And coming in close on the face and head here, it is a good looking head sculpt. Now, the shadows that are casted on this face, in a lot of the pictures I've seen, and even when I'm looking on camera right now, it does look kind of weird. It is a very cartoon accurate face, but it does look a little strange, just especially in the pictures. I would say in person, it looks a lot better. Now, you do have some alternate faces, but first, before we do that, by the way, this head is fully painted. If you open up this top part here, you've got that part inside, which is incredible because that reproduces the scene from the cartoon where they were working on him. I guess the Decepticons were working on him. That's his memory monitor right there. That's such a cool little detail they added in there. But if you want to change out the face, you can come to the bottom here. I recommend a spudger to get under the chin, not under the chin, but under this gray piece here. And then you can pop this face off. It's just tabbed in. You can see there's a little peg and a slot here. Go ahead and take the next face, pop that on. And there's kind of a concerned, yelling face. This one's okay. It is a little bit doofier, but this one's okay. And there's sort of a smiling face. I think this is the worst one. It really just looks too goofy for me. I'm not planning to use this, but you do have the option. And there it is with the mask as well. You can actually put that on there without a face underneath. It does work. It doesn't sit as properly, but if you didn't want to have the eyes showing through underneath, you could take that off and display it like this. Again, cool option if you need it. And for a quick size comparison, there it is next to the Transformer Element Optimus Prime, the most recent Masterpiece Trailbreaker, Masterpiece Skids, Fans Toys version of Jazz, and the Masterpiece Wheeljack Plus version. And he looks great with these guys. I like the height, I like the size. Overall, it could stand to be a little bit bigger, but I do like how he fits in with this crew. So final recommendations on the Takara Tomy Masterpiece Skyfire. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5. This is a knockout Masterpiece figure. They really threw everything they had into this, and I can tell. And I'm not just saying that because Skyfire is my favorite character. They really give you all the accessories, all of the gimmicks, all the posability. You get this, G1 option here if you wanted to, have this look, which me personally I really love. It's really, really well done. The materials even, which was something I was concerned about. I thought maybe they would cheap out on the materials because of all this other stuff, but they didn't. The flight stand works. Everything that they've included here works. Now, one of the things that I'd say is a drawback of this is it's super hyper-tune accurate. And some people might not like that because in some cases it can look a little bit goofy. So, for example, this face I think is actually kind of goofy. I don't really like this one. And then this one as well is a little bit on the goofy side. But you get two good face options. You get this straight face, which I think looks really good. And then you get the battle mask. So between those two, I think that works. The other kind of downside on this guy in robot mode is the detents on the hip ratchets are a little bit too far apart. So it does kind of hinder you in posing. Now I got a good pose here, but those can kind of hinder you, and same on the ankles. The detents at the ratchets really should have just been friction joints there, but minor complaint there. The wheels in the vehicle mode is another minor complaint for me, is they kind of fold in too easily. I wish they would just lock in place. But that's it. Those are my only complaints. If you're a fan of Skyfire or you're a masterpiece collector, this is a must-have masterpiece. I have to even say this is probably one of the best masterpieces ever made. It's at least up there in the top 3 in terms of, what they've created here. So I do recommend it. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to the Chosen Prime for sending this for review early, and we'll see you next time.